Amateur Traveler is in its 20th year now, but can you imagine if I had people on the show who had never been to the destination, but had just read about it or seen a movie about it? That wouldn't make any sense at all, and you wouldn't listen. We all know how important it is to receive advice from people who know a destination to get the most authentic local experience. And a great option for experiencing this is Explore Worldwide and their authentic small group adventures, led by local tour leaders, perfect for solo travelers who want to meet like minded people with a desire for adventure. I'm often an independent traveler, but two of my last three trips were with small group tours because they organize everything and it's a lot easier. If you want to recreate the tour I did to Malta, they have a Malta and Gozo Discovery Tour. I'm intrigued by one of their tours called A Taste of Sicily. The company again is Explore Worldwide, and visit exploreworldwide.com to learn more. And thanks to Explore Worldwide for sponsoring this episode of Amateur Traveler. The nights are long, the days are short, and the weather is chilly to downright cold, depending on where you are. It's a good time to slip into a Quince iconic Mongolian cashmere sweaters, which start at only $50. You can treat yourself to everyday luxury at an affordable price with Quince. If you really want to dive into luxury, you can check out their leather handbags, washable silk shirts, and European linen sheet sets. Whatever you're looking for at Quince, all the prices are 50 to 80% less than similar brands, and they do that by partnering directly with top factories and cutting out the middleman. They only work with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing processes. And of course, they use premium fabrics and finishes for that luxury feel in every piece. But you've already heard me rave about my Quince travel pants. Treat yourself this winter without the luxury price tag. Go to quince.com/traveler for 365-day returns plus free shipping on your order. That's QUINCE.com/traveler to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/traveler. And thanks to Quince for sponsoring this episode of Amateur Traveler.
I got my bags packed on a roll. I'm heading out there and I'm ready to go. I'm looking real good in my passport photo.
Amateur Traveler, episode 363. Today, the Amateur Traveler talks about fortresses, beaches, and La Ruta de la Con, the route of the spit roast pig, as we go to Puerto Rico. Welcome to the Amateur Traveler. I'm your host, Chris Christensen, back from spring training in Arizona and also a pork dinner with the National Pork Board at South by Southwest in Austin. It's been a busy week. Before we get into this week's interview, I do have three news stories for you. The first two are going to be familiar because Carnival Cruise Line has been having some problems. 2 months after an engine room fire on the Carnival Triumph, they had a backup diesel generator issue on the Carnival Dream that prompted them to keep the cruise liner in port and to fly home all the passengers. And within 2 days, the Carnival Legend had problems affecting its sailing speed, the travel company said. It's time to switch to some bigger rubber bands to power those ships. But if people are complaining about cruises, the cruise employees have some complaints of their own, and there's now a new website where they can air their grievances called howmayiassistyou.co.uk for workers in the cruise industry to talk about passengers and how they sometimes misbehave. Topics on the discussion boards include things like guests say what and things go right sometimes. For links to all three of those stories, check out the show notes at amateurtraveler.com. I mentioned briefly that I was in Austin for a dinner with the National Pork Board. I had hinted that they are trying to get out the news about a contest that they are doing, and that is the Pork Passion Pursuit Contest, where they're going to give away $5,000 in prize money to the winner in each of 5 categories: the foodie, the traveler, the parent or host, the lifestyler, and the tailgater, at the porkbeinspired.com site. And in 500 words or less, you describe your pork passion pursuits. Perhaps after this episode, that's going to be including going to Puerto Rico for the Ruta de Lechon. The URL for the contest page is a little hard to get to, so instead you can go to amateurtraveler.com/pork. I hope in the travel category that one of you will be the winner. I'd like to welcome Kaleb Garcia, who's coming to us to talk about Puerto Rico. Kaleb, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And you are a native of Puerto Rico and have lived there your whole life?
Yes, I actually live now in Cleveland, Ohio, but
Okay.
I was born and raised there, and I just moved here 5 years ago.
Excellent. So, if someone were to go to Puerto Rico, what would you recommend? Where should we go and what should we see?
When you come to Puerto Rico, you get to San Juan.
Hmm.
The airport is Luis Muñoz Marin, and you get there, and that's probably where you stay.
Okay.
You stay in a hotel, usually. Motels aren't for days, they are sold by hour.
Okay.
So I don't recommend going to a motel in Puerto Rico.
Okay.
Usually it's in San Juan. The hotels are, you can go from anywhere to a big skyscrapers to bed and breakfast down in Old San Juan. There's
Hmm.
so many of them.
And Old San Juan, I know that would be my favorite part that I've seen of San Juan.
Yes, I really like Old San Juan better than the new San Juan
Okay.
area of Del Condado. If you ask any Puerto Rican, where should I go? The first thing they'll say is El Morro.
Hmm.
That's probably the symbol of Puerto Rico.
And tell us a little bit about what El Morro is.
El Morro is a fort or a castle to protect the island, or better, the city of Old San Juan, from pirates and invaders. And it was built in 1539, and it's named after Philip II.
Oh, I thought it was. I understood that wrong. Where is Morro then?
The Morro is meaning that little hill where it's built.
Okay.
It's built in a little hill going down into the coast.
But you're saying the official name is
The
after.
official, yes, the official name of Castillo San Felipe del Morro.
Got it.
It's open almost all day and every day. And I recommend when you go there to buy tickets for both El Morro and San Cristobal, who is the other fort in the other corner of the city.
Okay.
You get that, I think, for $5, and you could have it for 7 days.
Oh, okay.
So you could visit both places for a week.
And I think probably a lot of people get to El Morro because it's a very short walking distance from where a lot of the cruise ships come and go. And I think a lot of people, that is all they see from San Juan is just the little bit of time before they get on a cruise ship.
Yeah. If you buy that ticket for 7 days, you could have it for yourself.
Excellent.
I remember going there as a kid and spending all day in there. Okay, the next thing I'll recommend is Casa Blanca, which is the original home of the Ponce de Leon family.
Oh, okay.
So Ponce de Leon is the first governor of Puerto Rico,
Mm-hmm.
but he didn't actually live there much. He continued to Florida.
Right, where he was off
Yeah.
looking for the Fountain of Youth is the story we learned in school.
Yes, that's
Okay.
what we all learned. But his family did stay here in Puerto Rico, and they actually founded the city of Ponce.
Mm-hmm. On the southern shore.
Yes.
Okay.
And that house is really beautiful. It has the period decorations, and it's still maintained really beautiful. I recommend it. And the name comes from the painting outside. It's a white house in the colonial style. And it's only $3 to go in it.
And is that then in Old San Juan?
Yes.
Okay.
You could walk in Old San Juan
Mm-hmm.
to everything mostly. We also have the Fortaleza, which is the official governor's residence. And it was built in 1846. And it has housed 170 governors of Puerto Rico.
Oh, my. Okay.
And it's actually, according to them, the oldest executive mansion still in use in the Western Hemisphere.
Hmm.
And it's really beautiful. Now it has a neoclassical outside exterior, but it started as a really Renaissance-style castle. It's really beautiful. And you can have a tour. And what I like about the tour is they have a clock where the last Spanish governor of the island, before exiting the island, hit the clock with his sword, and the time stopped right there in that moment. And it hasn't been changed since. So you could see the time when the last Spanish governor left.
And that would have been after the Spanish-American War.
Yes.
Okay.
Really interesting. It's really beautiful period, decorated, and the governor still lives there.
And I don't remember the exact date, but we're talking roughly 1900.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, I recommend the Cathedral of San Juan,
Mm-hmm.
which is really beautiful. It's really important because it is a rare example of the late Gothic style in the Caribbean.
Okay.
And right now, it has a neoclassical outside exterior, like most of the buildings, but the interior is still Gothic style.
Okay.
And right there, you could find the tomb of Juan Ponce de Leon.
Oh, okay.
They do have the tomb in there. I'm really not sure if the body is in there, but they do have like a little monument.
Okay. And we haven't left the rather
Oh,
colorful section of Old San Juan yet.
yes, we're still in Old San Juan, and
Okay.
you can go to most of it by walking.
Mm-hmm.
And then I recommend the Paseo de la Princesa,
Okay.
which will transfer to the Princess
Passage. Yeah.
Walk,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like a little walk around the walls of the city,
On the walls or outside of the walls?
outside the walls.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, you start right in front of the old jail of the princess, the Cárcel de la Princesa, which is the headquarters for the Puerto Rican Tourism Company.
Oh, okay.
And you start right there. You go through the Fountain of the Roots, which is a beautiful fountain about Puerto Rican roots from Spanish, African, and Native American Taino people.
Hmm.
And you keep going all the way down to Puerta de San Juan, which is the last door from five that will go into the city.
Hmm.
It's a beautiful door. It used to be three will go to the city itself, and the other two will go into water. And it was for protection of the city, and that's the way you go in the city and during those times.
Mm-hmm. When, as I recall, El Morro, the rather imposing fortress, was only captured once, and it was because everybody inside was sick with influenza or something at the time.
Yes, and if I remember correctly, I believe that once they was captured, they closed it up, and then the people that came to capture it got sick also.
Ah.
So it's really funny how they just didn't have to fight much because they all got sick.
Hmm.
And there's a whole bunch of little museums around Old San Juan. There's one about Native American life,
Hmm.
and it's called Museo del Indio. It's actually like a small house, like a old-fashioned colonial house in Old San Juan, and it has a lot of instruments and figurines of Native Americans, Taino people.
Okay.
There's one about African roots, which is also talks about our connection to the African slave trade and culture. There is the Puerto Rico Museum of Art and the Contemporary Art Museum, which are also in that area.
Hmm.
They have a lot of beautiful art from Jose Campeche, which is one of the famous artists from colonial era, Puerto Rico.
Okay.
Then if you want to go outside San Juan, I recommend getting a car. It will be much easier to get around outside San Juan.
Mm-hmm.
And something really important is that usually English is spoken in the very touristy areas.
Right.
And once you get out of the tourist area, you find that most of the people speak Spanish only.
And that's even though English is taught in the schools, most people
Yes, most
really.
people still speak
Yep.
Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're seeing a change from technologies connecting people to more to the United States and stuff, but usually most of the people speak Spanish. Although we may use English words, but we may not know it's English.
And we should talk just a little bit about the connection to the United States. Puerto
Okay.
Rico is not quite independent and not quite part of the United States.
Yes, it's really strange to explain.
Well, I think there are as independent as you choose to be and as dependent as you choose to be, because you've had votes on to go independent and you've had votes on to become a state and turn
Yes.
down both of those.
hmm We actually are a Commonwealth.
Mm-hmm.
This last time we voted to be a state, but I think it was a misunderstanding of the people.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I think they don't understood what really they were asking in the ballots. And also, I don't really think it will happen because of the governor is from the wrong party. I don't think he will go to make us a state,
Hmm.
follow the process. I really don't have a problem being a state or not. We still have everything we have in the United States. We just not a state.
Okay.
But we do speak Spanish most of the time, and we really don't consider ourselves being from the United States.
Right.
So that's really why you won't see many American flags outside San Juan.
We have one of the players of the San Francisco Giants that is my favorite baseball team is from Puerto Rico. And I noticed that he goes back and trains there. And as he was talking about Puerto Rico, he's definitely talking as you and I did in the emails about the country of Puerto Rico.
Yes, is we consider it our country, not our state or our
Mm.
territory. So we think we say my country, we don't say like my island or something. And we see our governor as our president.
Now we've got our rental car and we're going to go see other parts of Puerto Rico. I know one of the things we talked about in a previous episode was Arecibo, and you were not impressed.
Not really. Well, as a kid, it will be very beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
It's the way they present it is they have like a science center kind of stuff
Mm-hmm.
where you see different exhibitions, usually more in for kids,
Okay.
not too fun for adults though.
So maybe science geeks like me or people who are traveling with a family. And sorry,
Yes,
my apologies. We didn't say what Arecibo is, but it's a large radio telescope
yes,
out in the jungle.
yes. But if you go, I recommend to connect it to another trip
Mm-hmm.
going to Camuy, which you could see a cave system of the Rio Camuy.
Mm.
And it's a very beautiful cave system. And it's right next to Arecibo Observatory.
Interesting.
Yes, Las Cuevas de Camuy is called. And it's really beautiful cave system, huge, which you can get like a whole tour, and it's both in Spanish and English.
Okay.
And you can go to the Arecibo Observatory, stop by, look at the plate, which is the antenna itself,
Mm-hmm.
which is the most impressive thing, and then go to the caves.
Now that reminds me, since caves are going to be underground, they're going to be tend to be, I'm going to guessing, a little cooler and very humid in that
Yes,
area. What time is the best time of year to come to Puerto Rico? Since we're talking about a warm, humid climate.
I still recommend to go during the summertime.
Oh, really? Okay.
It's usually summer all the time,
Mm-hmm.
but maybe June, July, and August because during Christmas time, the people are happier and more active, and it could get dangerous, I believe.
Okay.
Because you see most locals going into the touristy areas and taking over.
Well, you and I had some conversation about crime because there's been
Yes.
an increase in crime in Puerto Rico, unfortunately,
Hmm.
not unrelated to the drug trafficking crime that's affecting Mexico. What recommendations do you are not of the belief that people shouldn't go to Puerto Rico?
Oh no, you should go to Puerto
Okay.
Rico. This is some local stuff, not really into like tourist.
Mm-hmm.
Or the crime is usually in the drug dealers area, which are usually in the projects.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't want to be mean, but that's usually where it is. Each project is like each like a town, and it has usually that's where they hide, and the crime usually is between them. It doesn't get peaceful people like. I could go to Puerto Rico and I won't get in trouble, or you guys can go to Puerto Rico and you guys won't get in trouble. And for 2 weeks or 3 weeks, you won't even notice anything.
Okay. So you had us driving over to see the cave system and
Yes, in
maybe
Camry.
the observatory also. What else should we see?
Well, you should go to Ponce.
Okay.
After San Juan, Ponce is the most colorful city.
And the picture that I have most memorable from Ponce is actually the fire station.
That's the most famous thing
Mm-hmm.
after the Morro. Is the fire station. It's a Victorian fire station from 1882, and it's in black and red color, and it's really beautiful.
But you're taking us down to Ponce for a little more than that.
Yes, we have. I recommend this hacienda, this coffee hacienda, called Hacienda Buena Vista.
Okay.
It's a beautiful colonial style hacienda where they grind coffee and process coffee and cultivate it, and it still works in the original state with all the machinery and buildings. It's really beautiful.
And is it good coffee?
Oh, it is really good coffee. Oh, yes. We love coffee all the time, all day. I recommend it a lot. If you go to the fire station, right there, there's an office of tourism which will give you options to take tours around Ponce. And they have two options. You can go in one which is only driving around, not getting down
Mm-hmm.
into the locations, and there's one that would take you to each location and you could get down and enjoy each of the places.
And when you say driving, it's a self-driving or it's a guided tour?
A guided tour. You could
Okay.
they get you in like a little tram.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Yes.
One of the little tourist trains.
Yes.
Okay.
They call it trolley.
Okay.
And then there's another place I recommend right there, and it's called the Ceremonial Indigenous Center of Tibes, which has the ball game spots that the native Taínos will play.
And that's similar to the ball games we see when we visit the Mayan ruins and such?
Yes.
Okay.
We think the Taínos came from either the area of Mexico and Guatemala or from Venezuela, Colombia area. So they probably brought that tradition from there.
Okay.
And it's a really nice place. It has traditional drawings. It has the rock in the area where they will play the games. And there's a little museum with figurines and houses of the Native Americans, reproductions, of course. And it's really a beautiful place to go and learn about the Native Americans from Puerto Rico. We could also go to, it's like a mansion, I would say, called Castillo Serrayes, which is up in a hill and looks down into Ponce.
And that's a historic?
It's a beautiful place. I really don't know how old it is,
Okay. But great views.
but great views, and it's a beautiful building, and it has some historic materials inside of it.
And I want to say that you were telling me that some of the best beaches in Puerto Rico are down by Ponce?
In that area, there's beautiful ones down there. Yes.
Okay. Well, I don't want to put words in your mouth. Where is your favorite beach in Puerto Rico? We're talking about a wonderful sun-drenched country, so somebody's going to want to spend some time at the beach.
Well, my favorite one is in Luquillo,
Okay.
and it's really beautiful waters, clear, and not that cold, not that warm. It's perfect.
And I don't know where Luquillo is.
Luquillo is near San Juan.
Ah, got it. Okay.
Yeah, it's up there, but it's one of the best ones. And of course, Playa Flamenco in Culebra.
Okay.
It's world renowned, and it's really beautiful.
Well, and then we've talked briefly on the show before about the other Puerto Rican possession, which is nearby island. I've mentioned going to Vieques and swimming with jellyfish.
Oh, yeah.
Which I actually don't think they let you do anymore, I understand. But
I know that's Mosquito Bay,
yes.
the Bio Bay, but you don't have to go to Vieques if you don't have enough time. You could go to near San Juan.
Mhm.
In Fajardo, we have another one, another Bio Bay where you could go. It's called Las Cabezas de San Juan and Bahía Grande,
Okay.
and it's near a beautiful beach called Seven Seas, Fajardo.
And for those people who don't know what we're talking about with the Bio Bay, basically, when I was in Vieques, for instance, in Mosquito Bay, which we referenced, as you were swimming, which they let you do at that time, as you reached your hand in the water, as you moved your hand, the water would glow with these bioluminescent plankton. And as you drew your hand out of the water, little points of light would drip down from your fingers. Just a most amazing experience.
It's amazing and creepy at the same time. Really beautiful, though.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. What else should we see while we're in Puerto Rico?
Okay, we have the famous Ruta del Lechón.
And I had not heard of this one.
It is a really local place.
And we should translate that one too. When you say the...
Okay. Ruta del Lechón will translate into spit roast pig route.
The route of the spit roast pig. Okay.
Yes, and it's famous for spit roast pigs. And you see the much delicious pigs in there. It's really an awesome place to go.
And as you were describing it to me as we were doing email, it didn't sound like we're talking about a series of large restaurants along this route so much
It's
as
local.
okay,
Yes, there are big eating areas,
okay,
and you go there and you just go to the best one you want to go, and you order, and they have seating areas, and you just eat and enjoy the views around. And there's live music, lots of local people, and they're selling lots of little trinkets and stuff from Puerto Rico, little decorations and things you can bring, souvenirs. But the best thing is the food. You will sample real local Puerto Rican food.
And when you say real local Puerto Rican food, obviously roast pig is
Yes.
what we're getting there. But what else is
Well, we like our rice,
okay?
and usually you get rice with beans or rice with pigeon peas,
Oh, I don't know that. Okay,
which are called gandules in Spanish.
okay,
And you can have your plantain, which
hmm
is a staple, and green bananas. We boil green bananas, and it's almost like potato like.
not as sweet then as a plantain.
No, not sweet at all.
Hmm.
We could have them green or like plantains. We can have them sweet and ripe.
And it sounds very similar to what I know of as Cuban food then too.
Yes, it's similar to it.
Mm-hmm.
You have your root vegetables like taro root, which is batata, sweet potato. You have your jams, which are called ñames. We like a lot of root vegetables in Puerto Rico.
Okay. And what am I drinking with that?
Well, we have many drinks like piña colada, which is said to be invented in Puerto Rico.
Okay.
And they have spaces where they sell the piña colada from an actual carved pineapple,
Mm-hmm.
and it's really delicious. And they have many drinks in there. And then from Bacardi, that is down in San Juan, that we like rum a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Where you can have beers, there's many beers. But I like the local juices. One of my favorites is guanábana, which is a fruit that I really like.
And I don't know that fruit. What is?
I really don't know the name in English.
Okay.
But it's really interesting. And we have like orange juice. It's really beautiful. If you find it like fresh orange juice, it's really good.
Excellent. And you were describing the root of the split pig, pig on a spit. Where would we find that?
It's near Patillas,
Okay.
which is another city, well, a pueblo, like we say, in Route 84.
Okay.
That's the actual route.
Great. Where should we go next?
All right. Well, near San Juan, you can go to Piñones, which is near the coast, and it's similar to the Ruta del Lechón, but without the actual pigs. You have more of the fried things like pastelillos and bacalaitos, alcapurrias, different fried foods.
Now I'm going to need a little more help with some of those because I'm not translating those. There are
Uh-huh.
what kind of things then?
We have one that is called papa rellena, which
Mhm.
is stuffed potato, but you make the like mashed potatoes, you stuff them with meat, and then you fry the ball itself.
Oh, okay.
It's really good. We have alcapurria, which is a mixture of like grind green bananas and other root vegetables. You make like a dough with that, and you stuff it with pork, and you fry that also.
Hmm.
We have bacalaitos, which are made from salt cod and a mixture of flour and water,
And
and
then
you
you
mix
fry them.
that, and you make like a fried pancake.
Okay. So these
It's
are
really
all
good.
these are all health foods then.
Oh yeah, we get it from the African roots,
Mm-hmm.
and usually that area was the most affected by slavery.
Hmm.
So you see the darker Puerto Ricans there.
Not just the well tanned Puerto Ricans. You're saying,
Yeah, just you see the much darker Puerto
Okay.
Ricans. They also have these walkways of wood when you go ride bicycles all around the area.
Hmm.
This beautiful ocean in there. Oh, it's really nice.
Are there any particular days or festivals that you most miss Puerto Rico? That the best day of the year in Puerto Rico is?
I like Christmas time.
Okay.
Yes.
I would almost bet you were going to say Christmas time.
Yes. I recommend it going in the summertime
Mm-hmm.
because it's safer now. But
Okay.
if you're brave enough and go, probably nothing will happen. But if you go in Christmas time, the people are celebrating everywhere. But the thing is that I bet businesses will be closed because we like partying.
Okay.
But our Christmas time starts after Thanksgiving,
Okay.
and it goes all the way down almost to February. So it's a really long time, and we have lots of partying, lots of food. It's really fun times.
And when you say partying, I'm picturing a lot of family get-togethers.
Family.
Mm-hmm.
We have in Old San Juan, we have the streets parties, which are really, really, really full of people. Like the Old San Juan streets get packed with people, and they have partying and plena and bomba, which are the local musics. It's really, really nice, but it could get dangerous.
Interesting. You've been in Cleveland for 5 years.
Yes. Right.
What do you miss about Puerto Rico that I should see while I'm there, or I should do while I'm there? Or
The food. That's what you
the food?
miss.
Okay.
Yeah, you got it. It's really hard to find the ingredients here to make our food because
Mm-hmm.
we usually it's farm to table,
Mm.
and most of us cook our food at home almost every day.
Mm-hmm.
And you could find food everywhere in Puerto Rico, from high-end restaurants down in San Juan to really a corner store. We sell good food. You find it everywhere, and the food is really good, not spicy. No, it's not hot.
Mm-hmm. So farm to table, you're saying even at home, it's picked
Even at home.
yesterday, shopped today, cooked
Yes.
tonight.
Yeah, we go outside and we have the banana trees outside,
Mm-hmm.
and we have the breadfruits outside, and all kind of stuff.
Okay. One of the things about Puerto Rico that I can see as a tourist that you're most proud of.
We're really nice people. We used to be the happiest place in the world.
I thought that was
couple years
Disneyland, but
away. We really love everybody. We're really warm people. We like hugs. We like kissing. And when you go there, you see that people do like everybody. It's really nice.
okay. And where should I go to experience that? If I'm in Turkey, I go play backgammon in a tea place. If I'm in Puerto Rico, I do what? To be able to use my poor Spanish and interact with locals.
You go to the restaurants that aren't that fancy,
Got it? Mm-hmm.
like in the Ruta del Lechón or Guabate, Luquillo, all those places. Go to a little corner store where they sell fried food, and it's really nice. Go to the plazas in San Juan, and
Mhm.
every town has a plaza.
Okay.
And usually the best things to see in each town are near the plaza.
And it's
So-
the center of the town
Of the
life.
town, you
Mhm.
see there the alcaldía, which will be the mayor's home,
Mhm.
and you see the church usually in traditional fashion, and there's usually a fountain there, trees. It's really nice.
Okay. Puerto Rico is not that wildly different from the U.S. I mean, there's a close relationship, but what's going to surprise me when I'm there?
It's not that small.
Okay.
When you see it in a little globe or a big map of the world,
Mhm.
it looks really tiny, but it's not that small. I think we have 72 or 74 pueblos,
Mm-hmm.
so it's a lot of different municipalities, and they all have different things to see. But I talked to you about the best things you could see. But there's a whole bunch of little islands around Puerto Rico, which are nice if you have someone with a boat to go see them.
Mhm.
But it's really a lot of trees. It's a really green area. San Juan, not that much, but once you get out of San Juan, everything is so green. There's lots of trees everywhere, and it's beautiful.
And speaking of trees and green, one place that we didn't mention outside of San Juan is
Yunque.
yes.
El Yunque is a rainforest, but don't get it like it is like the Amazons or something like that.
Mhm.
It's just a beautiful forest. There's a lot of falls in there, little water bodies that you can go in and enjoy the water. And it's like a big mountain, and it rains every day, at least a little bit.
Hmm.
but you won't see like monkeys and jaguars and things like that. Usually, really nice birds in there, spiders, cookies, which are tree frogs, but don't expect to be like big animals and monkeys and things like that.
Okay.
It's a really nice place to go.
As we start to wind this down, I've got maybe 3 questions for you. What else should we know before we go to Puerto Rico?
It's really important to know that the Spanish is needed
Hmm.
outside the touristy areas. That's really important. And you may need a car to get out of San Juan. So if you want to go around the island, I recommend getting a car. It's really important.
Hmm.
And traffic is horrible. So don't get frustrated at people because we drive really wild.
Okay.
It won't be that if you get into the autopistas,
The highways.
yeah, the highways, you won't get killed. But we can cut in front of you and do things like that. Try not to get mad at them.
Okay.
I know it's really frustrating, but it'll get you in trouble.
Okay. As you think back of your native Puerto Rico, one thing that makes you laugh and say only in Puerto Rico.
Horses, we have horses everywhere.
Okay.
Yeah, you can go even to like near a city and they'll have a horse some way somehow.
Hmm.
So they love the horses.
Interesting. Okay. Your best money saving tip for Puerto Rico.
Try to get out of San Juan.
Okay. Mhm.
Usually the cheapest places are outside San Juan, in small little restaurants. The food is really good, even though the place may look bad.
Okay.
But usually the kitchens are very clean. People really care for what they're making. If you want to save in food and trinkets and souvenirs that you want to buy or anything, try to get out of San Juan.
Okay. Last 2 questions. Finish this sentence for me. You really know you're in Puerto Rico when what?
When in the airplane, when they get to the land, they start clapping. That's really, really Puerto Rican. When we get to the island, everybody claps and celebrate.
Interesting. And what 3 words would you use to describe your native Puerto Rico?
Beautiful,
Mhm.
sea and sun.
Ah, okay. Excellent. Well, Kaleb, thanks so much for coming on The Amateur Traveler. Our guest again has been Kaleb Garcia from Puerto Rico, and thanks for sharing with us your obvious love for your home country.
Oh, you're welcome.
Please don't forget that I could still use your help in terms of a demographic survey of the listeners of Amateur Traveler. So if you could help me out by going to amateurtraveler.com/survey, that would be great. And don't forget amateurtraveler.com/pork to enter the Pork Passion Pursuit Contest. If you do win the Pork Passion Pursuit Contest in the travel category, I do want to clarify that taking me with you is entirely optional. I heard this week from Rafaela from Brazil, who said, I'm getting a degree in English and listening to the Amateur Traveler episodes has been a delightful way to test my language skills. I've listened to the show for about 2 years now, and I'm still excited to get to know what place the next episode will take me to. To be honest, I've never been outside Brazil, but thanks to your show, I can say that I've been traveling around the world somehow. I just have one request. Please record more episodes about Brazil. I know that you have many other places to cover and that it is hard to find guests sometimes, but I'd love to hear about my country in your amazing show. Thanks, Rafaela. If you want to make Rafaela happy, and I know you do, and you have been to Brazil and would make a good guest for the Amateur Traveler, let me know. I would love to do more episodes about Brazil. I also heard from Kirsten, who said, I'm a new listener, and I think I'm going to enjoy following Amateur Traveler podcast. I have a few comments about the latest show. I was unsure of what to make of the guest's assessment of French Guiana as the most sophisticated and developed country in South America. I should preface this by saying I've never been to South America, but I know that French Guiana is not the only country with strong European influence. What about Argentina or Chile, or at least parts of these countries, which are more popular destinations than French Guiana? Would they be considered comparatively less developed? Since the
terminology of development as ascribed to countries and regions carries some subjectivity, I was left wondering what he meant. Lastly, as a native of Trinidad and Tobago, I was pleased to hear him pronounce the islands and pronounce Tobago correctly. It is amazing how often people insist on calling it Tobago. Keep up the good work, Kirsten. And Kirsten, I had to record that last part 2 times because I pronounced it incorrectly. Yes, I wasn't sure what to make of the assessment of French Guiana as the most sophisticated either, but my guest had been to more of South America than I have, so we'll leave that stand as his opinion. But I suspect there might be other opinions out there as well. With that, we're going to end this episode of The Amateur Traveler. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to leave a comment on this episode at amateurtraveler.com to share it with the world, or send me an email to host@amateurtraveler.com. You can also join the Facebook community, facebook.com/amateurtraveler, where we are often looking for people to review a book or a product for the blog. You could also follow me on Twitter at Chris2X. Remember, enter the contest, amateurtraveler.com/pork, and fill out the survey, amateurtraveler.com/survey. And as always, thanks so much for listening.